One fateful day, I came upon a new release on the Steam market that may have resonated with me a bit too much. I didn't assume much would change in my life when I loaded it up for the first time, and honestly, I just wanted to see if I could actually get addicted to a game about a slot machine. How can this ruin my entire life, like it has for half of the population living out in Las Vegas? I didn't see a way, only to find out that I may have gone a bit too deep, and there just might not be any way out anymore. The game starts off with quite a daunting display of human knowledge, because it just knows everything about me right away. After running me through basic room function, the subtitles tell me I may be living on borrowed time, something similar to how real life actually feels. And what will I find out? So the room consists of an ATM machine where I must deposit all my hard-earned cash, the ticket machine, which I thought was for food rations, but apparently it's there to buy little charms, like, something you'd find in Chinatown, I presume. I don't live in Eagle Country, so I wouldn't know. And of course, the most important machine for any 35-year-old single male, the slot machine. As far as I'm concerned, the basic premise of the game is something similar to Lethal Company. You must meet your quota to be given a chance at life the next day. I might actually be in prison. And so I start pulling the lever and slowly descend into my addiction that I've been keeping wrapped up for the last decade or so. After taking a brief look at the charm stand, it became clear to me that this might actually be a roguelike game. I can upgrade my chances, but I remember my parents telling me the house always wins, so I'm not buying it just yet. Anyway, these charms either give me perks, special abilities, or just make certain roles more valuable. This is where strategy comes into play. Forget what I just said about strategy, I'm rich. So filthy rich, my pockets are ripping at the seams. And when the first day at my new part-time job is over, I deposit my winnings, only to find that I now must make even more shekels, and I've left myself very little overhead that was necessary for child support, mortgage payments, car payments, investing, taxes. Wait, is this the IR? While snooping, I do manage to come across a key locked in a box. I'd presume it's my way out of the prison cell. Wait, hold on. My phone is ringing? It's my outsider accomplice offering great value deals on last year's designer clothing releases. I'll take the diamonds. As I get back to spinning my life away, a shiny necklace floats in from the side. It might still be in the room with us, but looking around I can't see it anymore, so I might have forgotten to take my meds today. After a short while of rethinking my life, the voice in my head tells me to look around. So I spend a little while checking the phone again, looking into the dark void outside, and considering this might be a cell. I probably should have noticed that earlier on. I must remind you all that this is just recreational and not for education purposes. Oh my goodness. Almost jackpot. I just made 2 days pay in one spin. I think part of me now wants to return here every single waking moment of my mortal life from this day forward. I do also very much enjoy the Game Master, or should I say Regional Manager, reminding me that if I do not meet quota, I will be plunged into some sort of pipeline, possibly to my demise. It's quite a nice touch. As I progress further each day, I'm starting to see traces of Labubus and baby oil, even number combinations I shall not mention, and other things that I just simply don't have the mental capacity for. Makes me think, what kind of people did I get involved in? I didn't think my monthly trip to Vegas would have such consequence. My accomplice from the other side has turned evil, actually, and now only offers me terrible things. Here I was hoping that reroll means I have a chance at getting good options instead, but it did in fact curse me with 3 more terrible ones. Something tells me I won't be picking up the phone for quite a while. After a couple more spins, I noticed that the charms I've started purchasing are starting to compound for me, and lemons are now making me good money. I'm starting to grow fond of lemons. After all, when life gives you lemons, you gamble them away for more lemons. Remember that 3-digit number that was shown to me earlier that I will not name for the sake of my channel? I almost defecated in my pants when 2 of the 3 digits rolled right in front of me. For those of you who did not catch what that means, 3 6s nullifies your profit for the entire round, completely leaving you broke and possibly even maidenless. Every once in a while I do catch myself getting a little addicted, but I'm starting to think it's actually a sign that I might be a little sadistic, because why would I gain enjoyment out of trying to not get killed by doing the one thing my mother told me not to do when I was a small child? I knew it would happen eventually, but my hoarder ways have in fact caught up to me, and I now own too many little trinkets, not knowing what half of them do, so I cannot purchase anymore. A sad time for us all, really. Here and there the machine likes to tease me with bankruptcy, but I've gone down that road far too many times in life to feel any fear. I just simply spin again like nothing ever happened. This game will often teach you that no matter how rich you think you're getting, there's always a chance you will find yourself in a room where some overlord will drop you down a pipeline if you do not gamble enough to satisfy his addiction of being parasocial. I need a big win, a book, if you will, to make it to the next day. Everything is riding on this last spin. I did not make enough. And so the landlord explains I did in fact not have enough coin to pay for his services and I will now be discarded. And so the gameplay loop is introduced. The ATM closes its one eye to not have to watch as yet another subject is thrown into the abyss, and there's almost no way to beat the game on your first try. It actually just wants you to keep playing. Now normally I would call this enabling a really bad habit in the minds of our youth, but it's sort of a rite of passage at this point. Now here I am thinking strategy. They obviously don't want me to win, so let's do some math. Regularly, people often pay too much attention to the biggest winners within the slots universe. The sevens, the treasure chests, the diamonds even. But what if we paid more attention to the lonely lemons and cherries? Mathematically, this can be solved. They have a higher drop rate, there are modifiers to make them drop more often, and to be worth more every time they appear. I'm not quite sure how, but I never really noticed the big red button on the slot machine. Why does it look like a nuclear launch button? Why is it just sitting there ominously? So I start pressing it, randomly, every once in a while, thinking it may do something. I can now, with outstanding confidence say, it does nothing if you do not have the correct trinkets. But on the faithful day, I discovered my first large hit of dopamine, a jackpot. It scared me a little, but it is feeding my addiction. And so I keep paying my dues and pulling that lever while also I get this sudden feeling of dread. Is this supposed to be a horror game? After all, why does it have an eerie yet like very comforting aesthetic to it? Is the horror actually just noticing how our brains function in response to dopamine? Now for the next 2 days, real life days that is, don't worry, we are not trapped. I struggled to get my way past the 4th deadline, a goal of 2,222 shekels. Every time I get close, fear sets in. I might be able to do this. I might lose it all in just a second. It's thrilling, to the point I, at times, started sweating. Only to find out, the poor do still become poorer. Is poorer a word? But what must one do if not return to the slots? Nothing brings me quite as much joy anymore. The only other thing that this game teaches you is to know when it's time to cut your losses short. Get unlucky spins, no good charms to purchase, end it, move on. No point beating a dead slot machine. And so sometimes I choose to just give in and quit while I'm still ahead, at least mentally. After some further snooping, I have massive news. Interest exists. There's something called interest, which in fact is quite interesting. The more I pay before my deadline, the more it gives back in what I can only assume is rake back, just like in the casinos. So this might be part of a good strategy to get involved with. At times, however, I notice myself just standing there, staring blankly into the abyss before me. Where have I gone wrong? Why did I end up here? What should I have for dinner if I manage to escape? All burning questions in my mind. However, the more prominent burning question is when will I get the specific item I'm looking for? That being a horseshoe trinket. I'm unsure of the reasoning behind waiting for it. I mean, I just saw someone else use it before and they gained great results, so go figure. It's my idea now. Unknowingly, I've also caught on to the lemon strategy. We're gonna get there, stay with me for a second. Just get as many of them on screen as possible, using the trinkets. And there you go, profit. And it started to actually pay off. And it paid off big time. It paved the path for all future slot machines. It even paved a path for all future muffinators who will be sentenced to life in slots. This will be our way out. Now, having a strategy to follow, I even managed to get super lucky. Double all lemons. Funny enough, I also managed to find the horseshoe. But when reading it, I never really got the appeal. Sure, it's nice, but not game-breaking. When all was running smoothly and the drops were coming in, the unthinkable happened indeed. The triple-digit number I shall not speak of wiped out a major chunk of my income. Actually, almost all of it from that round, which left me in a bad place. The only solace I gained was when I was finally able to purchase my beloved horseshoe, thinking it will change the tides of my future. Oh, how wrong I was. Notice how the lemon is now worth 112 shekels, an absolutely magnificent price, if you ask me. You would not be making lemonade from these. You'd be selling them in return for gold. Now, during all future spins, I realized the lemon strat is quite elite. There's nothing better available in this video game. You must follow the lemon strat if you ever want to succeed. With it, I managed to finally surpass the 2,222 mark that revealed the key. The key to everything I love, including trips to Vegas. What shall I do with this key once I get it? I have not the slightest clue. But it all comes crashing down someday, and that day was the day before the final deadline. I had to meet quota, and I had a few thousand to make. Now, I figured it would be easy with my current lemon build. I figured I'm as good as a free man. But then spin after spin, my chances of getting out of here dwindled. So painfully slow was the descent into mortality, the lemons did not pay. However, my best slot run ever. While watching, you might be coming to the conclusion that lemons are in fact the source of all evil, but also all wealth. There is not a better way to explain it. That's why the lemon quote exists. Shortly after my massive loss, I got my hands on a full lemon jackpot. I don't believe in all that stuff, but what if it was a sign? A sign from a lonely alien up in the sky that it might just be lemon time. Somehow I managed to miss the deadline again. My money management skills, just like in real life, could use some serious work. An advisor might be the only thing that could help. Wait, I've been spared. What do I owe this pleasure? What if I wanted to be dropped? You ever think about that? And then I started freaking out. About mushrooms. Not because I'm an addict, but because this could genuinely be huge for me. For the industry, for everyone involved. I genuinely had a bit of an episode there. Now that I have my mushrooms, I feel unstoppable. The world around me is changing color and everything is turning into one big lemon. So many big lemons. But then, how do I not have enough schmeckles? Someone stole from me. I promise, the mushrooms were not mine, they were my friends. Don't take me away again. And then, another failed attempt. Because I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And this is where I genuinely went on the internet to look up a strategy that would be suited for my pea-sized gray matter I call a brain. I return to this hellhole the next calendar day. I wake and get on the game to try understanding the strategy I've just encountered scrolling Instagram Reels of all places. Somewhere between all of the AI slop I had to suffer through, the shining light, the exact trinkets I need to break the game, theoretically. But I managed to mess up my first attempt on the first day. Seems like I cannot start the game without reshuffling trinkets until I get exactly what I'm after. So I must calm myself, zen the fuck out, and indulge in our regularly scheduled slot machine action. Not to mention, you will sometimes load up the game for it to only spit in your face and give you just about 0 profitable spins within 7. What do you do after? Do you quit? Do you go outside to smoke a dart and come back in and eat a ham sandwich? No. You sit down and try again until you win. After many miserable attempts, I finally managed to get somewhere slightly less dreadful in terms of money. And I noticed a book I've been after as one of my first really important trinkets. Oh wait, never mind, I already messed it up. Muffinator number 37 is no longer with us. A valiant effort, but horrendous results as per usual. With some luck by my side, I find myself looking at one of the items I need once more, the picture of lemons, which should help me find more lemons. And if you have not guessed by now, the strategy once again involves lemons. There really is no better way to do this. Now on this specific run, I had everything I would ever need lined up for me. I had the lemon picture, I had some important trinkets on the horizon. The current goal we were aiming for is the Book of Ungodly Things, the picture of lemons, mushrooms, golden lemons, and some other not so essential ones, but still quite important. This run could have been everything we ever dreamed of, but I somehow messed it up anyway. Another important lesson from the slot machine game: never expect yourself to come out on top just because you have a strategy. You need to put in those reps. For this specific run, I did not prioritize acquiring the trinkets early on, but instead I bought just about anything I could afford from the China shop, I mean trinket shop, in hopes that somehow I will make it to later stages. And as expected, after countless attempts, things just seem to fall into place perfectly. I'm finding the specific charms that I need, I'm getting decent spins with some higher earning payouts, and I'm getting ever so slightly closer to booking that ticket to Vegas for me and my friends. Even managed to score a jackpot. Unfortunately, there were a couple small setbacks with charm RNG. Kept re-rolling for nothing good over and over, but this tends to happen. And, by the way, I manifested a good run before I started this one, because my wife was sleeping next to me and was just about ready to start throwing things if I didn't get off the computer. The game was on, and I was in the final showdown. With the grace of the landlord committee, I was barely able to get past the next stage, unscathed by the rusty pipes below me. I even got so lucky with cherry spins, I started reconsidering my lemon strategy, which I would sort of regret later because it wiped out most of my lemon profits. And with this newfound success, even more success came my way. It is true, the rich get richer, and the lemons get zestier. Once again, I find myself facing the key. If I do this right, I will acquire the one thing I've been after this whole entire time. I will make it out unscathed. And holy balls of uranium, I just got myself a super jackpot. What does that even mean? How is this considered super? But 1K is nothing to write home about just yet. We have a long way to go still. The only possibility of me losing this run is if I score the 666 on one of these spins, and there is almost no chance of that happening though. It happened. No worries, I'm still rich though. Hate to admit, I would not have gotten here without the help of Instagram brain damage. Like, it almost sands me inside knowing that's the reason I was able to get to this point. And here I was thinking, I'm not mentally challenged and actually have a chance of figuring this out by myself. I was so atrociously wrong. That key, the key doesn't unlock the door. So you're telling me I just have to keep playing. I just have to keep spinning the slot machine. I'm stuck here forever. I might never see my family again. I might never have the chance to touch grass again. It's not like that's something I even do, but just not having the chance to do it is frightening. Well, just like I expected, my addictive personality just kept spinning, because a key that simply only unlocks a drawer isn't enough, it seems. This game will test you in ways you have never been tested. This is playing slots without the financial burden. This is what you've always dreamed of as a child. So for that reason, I start getting crafty with it. I find a trinket that lets me have another trinket slot. I use my new drawer to store away some of the not so needed trinkets. I get scrappy. And did I mention I scored a whole jackpot of just lemons? Yeah, that happened. And it was, say it with me now, legendary. A mega jackpot is a very tense and exciting experience. I suggest wearing underpants for this one and being in somewhat of a cold room because you might overheat. And so I kept paying the landlord what he's owed. I kept acquiring more monetary wealth, but something dawned on me. What if it was all just a lesson? The lemons kept falling, the number kept increasing, but my satisfaction dwindled. At one point I was a little concerned I might even break the game with the kind of numbers that were showing up on screen. I should mention this so no one comments it. I know I could get way more, but the lesson I learned during my time in this bottomless slot pit is that it's always been about the lemons. Because how are you going to ignore the lemons? The lemons give us life and lemonade is just a metaphor for opportunity. Never doubt yourself. I almost made it to 1,000,000 shekels. Who knows what's in store for me next? I think maybe I'm just gonna spin one more time.